I've faced many challenges, but if I have to pinpoint to one, I would say it's early in my career. I think what I found most difficult was just balancing family life and a very fast-paced career life. I remember then I was the head of HR and really supporting different countries in the African Middle East. I did a lot of travel. I had a young family. And I think at one point I was feeling like I was failing on one side, winning on the other. Yeah, so I would say that was the challenge. But I think with time I've come to appreciate that you never quite really get a balance per se, but I think it's about accepting at what stages you're going to put in more of one side than the other. And really I learned to get a support system to be able to support me with that. So that piece was pretty challenging, juggling those two balls. But somehow you work around it with time, and as you learn to ask for help. I think other than, I think I got a lot of support, I think, from my husband, especially at the time with our young kids, and when I had to travel and I had other family members to help me when I wasn't there for my kids as I would have wanted to. For me, even if it was one day or 1 week, it was a big deal for me to be away, because um, I'm very values driven when it comes to family, and I think I always want to give my all. So that was I got support from the family side, and I think the other piece was the recognition that you can't have it all. So appreciating that I couldn't have it all at the same time was very, very important. And I got to learn this from other women who are also facing the same challenges. So learning that early in your career you give more, you have to really put in the work. But then recognizing that as you grow and as you get what you want, it kind of becomes easier with time, and therefore you're kind of able to manage the trade-offs and being kind to yourself. I think we don't do that a lot, beating ourselves too much. So I learned to be kinder to myself and recognize what was possible and what wasn't. The biggest risk was leaving a big job. I left my role as group head of HR. My career was at the top. I loved it. Everybody thought I was doing great. I was actually doing great. And then I chose to resign and set up a business, which I'm running today. So I resigned to set up Rise and Learn. That was a big risk. I think I'm a risk taker, but that was huge. It was also scaring. I think also because everybody thought I was mad. I kind of doubted it myself, just that I didn't show the signs. Worth it? It was like more than worth it. It's been quite a journey, I can tell you for sure. So I wouldn't trade this for anything. Looking back, I think when you look at how much I have grown, how much I have learned, and even in terms of really learning what entrepreneurship is all about, it's not what we read in the books. I think you've got to be in the game to really know what works, what doesn't, to really experience the pain, because there's a lot of that in the beginning, and really to know the real world, because that's when you come to appreciate who your real friends are. You come to appreciate who gets to support you, and you also get to learn a lot about yourself. You discover yourself and your potential, and that's what has been for me. And I think the most fulfilling thing is really being able to impact the lives of others through the work that I do, because I'm pretty passionate about what I'm doing, and just being able to see the possibilities beyond. For me, that keeps me going. So the purpose has kind of kept the fire burning. No regrets at all. So to answer your question, it has been definitely worth it. Yeah, it has. I think the self-confidence is a big thing. And they always say that if you don't put a high value on yourself, then the rest of the world will not. So I think we beat ourselves a bit too much. We want to prepare and be ready, to be 100% ready before we can maybe apply for a job somewhere, or even putting your hand up. So really, what I would advise women is that you have got what it takes. Just have more self-belief in yourself and go for those jobs, go for those opportunities, putting your hand up and just see what happens, because you have got what it takes for sure. I think women, given the opportunities, have got so much. They have a lot of energy and creativity with them, and skills and abilities to really do what it is that they want to do. So for me, self-confidence is a first, trusting in yourself that you've got what it takes, and just taking that first step of doing it, apply for that job, and offer yourself for a volunteer role. It doesn't really matter. So I think for me that comes first. And the second thing is just to know that good enough is better than perfect. I always say this, and it's because sometimes we over prepare. We think we need to be a certain level. I'm not ready, so I won't go for it. Yet we find the men are always, really putting themselves out there much more than we do. So I do think that women should give themselves a little bit more push, and you don't have to wait for the perfect moment, because there's never really one. I think our society as well has kind of created these stereotypes around women and the roles that women play, whether it's in organization, in society as a whole. And you've got to really be able to be strong-minded, having a strong will, and having a clear purpose of what it is you want. And before you are a woman or a man, there's how God made you to be. There's the strengths that God has endowed you with. How do you use those? And you shouldn't use your gender. Your gender shouldn't be a disadvantage in anything. In any case, I do think it's a big advantage as women, because I think we are not enough in the workspaces, and therefore we have big opportunities. We have a lot of opportunities to do that. And someone won't come and pull you off from your chair and invite you to the table. You've got to do that. You've got to raise your hand for it. As far as stereotypes are concerned, as far as the thinking that you can't really make it without, getting some support from somebody, or if you see a successful woman somewhere, I once met a gentleman, and he asked me, "Who's behind you?" Who's behind you? He meant, how did this become so successful? And I think it was an event we were holding. And there was this expectation that there was somebody else, somebody has to be behind your back, other than God, who I think I have trusted all my life, and the support of other people around you as a support system. It's possible for you to do it. It's possible for you to do it, and you don't need favors to get along. You don't need favors to go up the organization. You don't need to lower your dignity to get a promotion. You don't need any of that. You can actually do it through your own sweat, your own integrity, and really your character is what carries you along. So that's, for me, if you forget anything else, I think that's what I would advise to women.